Thad, Cam was just in here talking about sort of the importance of keeping a positive mindset when the Big Ten play hasn't started the way you guys wanted to. Have you seen that maybe permeate throughout this team, even though the wins haven't been what you want? That they're still working hard, still engaged, and still looking to get this thing right.
Mm-hmm. I have, and like I told them, I really don't care about your psyche or whatever. We just got to play. I mean, we got to play better, and we got to get the job done.
So have you quoted The Fugitive to them?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I want to ask you about Keita and just sort of the whole deal with playing and then making the decision. What went into the decision ultimately to shut him down? What were those conversations like?
Well, it was just a matter of him not being able to be 100%. To look back and everything that we've done from the 2 months off before the season to 1 day of practice, 2 days off. We finally got him to 1 day on, 1 day off, and then next game he gets a high ankle sprain. And, him being in pain, him being at I don't know what percentage, just it isn't fair to him, and got to just sort of move forward. So I mean, the discussion was, I had in December in the back of my head about possible redshirting if he didn't get better quickly.
And I know obviously different legs, different injuries. Did the high ankle sprain in any way hold him back?
No,
with this?
I don't think so.
So how do you I guess maybe just like you said, you don't care about other things. You got to win games. How did you bring this up to the team? How do you address them going forward and say, look, this is, we're counting on this, this, and this from him. We're not going to get it. Next man up, or what?
Yeah, I mean, we played some games without him, so it wasn't anything. I don't want to say major because it is major, but it just sort of injuries happen, and you just literally move forward, and it's what we got, and we go with it.
How did Keita respond when you sat down and had the conversation? And did you present him the option, or how? Like, what's that dynamic?
I'm trying to think. Just meeting with the doctors, and there was several different roads to take, but what we didn't want was sit out January, play February, and then in June it flares up again. We have to have surgery as a 3 to 6 month process. Well, now we're messing with next year. That's not fair to him. I mean, would it be good for us? Yeah, maybe it would, but it wouldn't be fair to Keita.
Bill asked you about the players and their outlook, but you guys as a coaching staff, obviously you went through last year and kind of the start to this year. How are you guys viewing this? How are you kind of keeping this thing on the rails with the Big Ten start and losing Keita and everything, I guess?
Well, I don't know, keeping it on the rails. Hey, we got, 14 Big Ten games left. We're looking and saying, hey, we've had opportunities to play. We just got to get to where we're playing good basketball, not so much great basketball, but we've shown in all 3 Big Ten games, we've shown throughout the course of the early season that we've played very solid basketball. But just some of the mental errors, things we've got to get those corrected that we can't make. Things are going to happen. I mean, we gave up 2 offensive rebound tip-ins, and the ball bounced. We made the right rotation. We blocked the right guy out, and it bounces to the guy that, and getting our guys in, okay, that's going to happen, but we can't go down and turn the ball over or not execute our offense. That's probably more how we're trying to keep it on the rails, as opposed to, panicking or anything like that. It's just like, hey, we got a long way to go, and let's play better basketball. Let's play our best basketball.
Thad, you've talked about the loss of Keita and how it's impacted the team. But one of the things you've talked about is just the fatigue factor, just not having the minutes from him. Any thought of playing Funderburk, just from that standpoint?
Yeah, but once again, that wouldn't be fair to the kid, just because he's missed so much. And the Big Ten is not a place where you get your feet wet as a young freshman. And I don't know if that would be the best thing to do.
Ed, you were talking about mental errors. If you have a laundry list of things you're trying to correct, is there one thing above all that you're trying to make sure you get turned around with this group right now that could help lead you in the right direction?
Yeah, I think that at the forefront of my mind would just be the thinking component of the game and seeing, understanding the time, the score, the situation, carrying it out in the heat of the battle would probably be the biggest thing that I'm after with these guys.
Is that easy or difficult to teach? Is that more of an instinctual thing for guys?
I would say a lot of it is instinctive, but with this team, we've done so much situational stuff, probably more than I've done combined in all the years I've ever coached, just trying to get the thinking component of the game. And it's the little things. It's take the ball to the free throw line and call timeout as opposed to half court so we can run the play that we practiced 15 times. Well, we can't run it because we stopped at half court. That's one of those that you got to be a little bit more tuned into. So,
a couple questions. Fell behind, I think, Illinois by 15, 18 at Minnesota. Obviously, that's not what you set out to do, but how can you head that off? I mean, you're out playing these teams after those points in both games. How do you head that off and start out better?
That's been the topic of discussion in practice and film, trying to get that point across that, like, we've got to stop putting ourselves in these positions where we're in a constant. We got down 10 to Purdue, and they're in the second half, and those are the things that we've got to do. We've got fouls to give at the end of the half, and we use one, then we gamble for a steal. We play 4-on-5 and foul and give them 2 free throws at the end. We're fouling at the end of the half against Illinois, and we don't foul. And the guy makes a shot, puts us down 11 at halftime. And those are the things that we've got to get corrected. And some of the possessions we've had offensively, just crucial turnovers. We've had the ball at the rim and haven't finished them, and those are things. I thought in the Minnesota game, the first 6 minutes our defense was as good. I mean, in the last 2 games they had played, I think they had over 20 points in the first 4 minutes, and we had held them to 6. But we've got 3, and we're missing free throws. We're turning the ball over. We're getting our shot blocked, and it puts so much stress on you. But we've got to find a way not to dig ourselves in that hole if at all possible.
I know you guys have generally hung your hat on defense, but your 3 opponents have all had 70 points. Has that been more a function of the fouling and the free throws that have kind of accumulated against you, or late in the game, are you happy with what you're seeing defensively?
I'm not happy because we're obviously not doing it good enough, but the things that we've got to do is the mistakes that we're making defensively, we're paying the price for making them, and those are the key plays. We're digging the ball out of the post, but we're not in the line of the guy that we're guarding, and they throw it out and hit a 3 with 1:30 to go, and it's like, you can't give a direct pass out of the those are the mistakes that we've got to not make. And you're not going to hold a team scoreless. But I think the biggest thing is we got to keep competing.
Steve's talking about the start of the game. Towards the end, though, in all of these games, 5 minutes to go, it's anybody's ball game in all of them. And you've always had teams that have closed really well.
Right.
Does this team they need to win one before they can win one, if that makes any learn how to win those games that are tight down the stretch?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would definitely help the cause, I think, because you're constantly showing why not as opposed to why. And But we got to be mentally tougher to close those things out. There's no question.
I want to ask you, Wisconsin, obviously one of the better teams in the league. Anything different about this team as all those Wisconsin teams? What jumps out at you?
You know, I don't view them as different. I think that very, very similar to what we've seen in the past few years. But they've got, inside, outside, the just a solid basketball team in terms of they, answering Steve's question, like you make a mistake, they will make you pay with a three or a wide open drive to the basket. So being as sound as we possibly can is going to be huge for us. And then defensively, you got to make shots up there. And I think that hopefully we can get the open looks and we got to make the shot.
When you talk about making shots, looking at Cam's stat line, him going 1 for 10, I know you said on your radio show that some of those shots you weren't happy with. Is this, he went through a little bit of a slump earlier in the season, kind of shot his way out of it. Is it different to teach him after a game like that where he goes 1 for 10, but some of the shots weren't good shots, as opposed to earlier when he would go 1 for 10, but you like the shots?
Yeah, I'm just sitting down with Cam and going through film one-on-one with him. I think he realized he took a couple of ill-advised shots and, just pointing out like, hey, you've probably shot 10,000 one-dribble pull-ups here in the 4 years you've been here. Why are you going all the way to the rim trying to finish over a 7-footer? And we shot faked and stepped back to where the guy was. We faked and he challenged our shot the other day. It's like it's one dribble, pull up, and that's a wide open shot. But I think with Cam, we got to stay with him. He's shown that he can get himself out of it, and hopefully he will.
When you talk about needing, figure out how to close out games and stuff like that, needing guys to maybe take control, was Cam trying to do too much? Is that when you look at that now?
I don't think so, because if he was, he would have, because there was a couple of opportunities that he had that he could have moved 3 feet and we could have had him on a wide open shot. And so I don't think he was trying to do too much. I don't think he's pressing or anything like that, but just put the ball in the basket.
And I know you've told us that when losing Kata reminds you of losing David a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to Cam and Andre, they said they don't really recall you specifically using him as an example, but is that something, do you point to losing a guy like that and how that team was able to respond? Do you draw that parallel to the guys at all at any point?
Not really. They don't remember David Leidy, I don't think. I mean, every time he comes back, I make the biggest spectacle you've ever seen in terms of introducing him to our guys. But I don't think they view it like that.
Statue outside would help.
The what?
A statue outside would help.
Yeah, no, I've said that for years. No question about it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about it.
You made an interesting comment about showing guys why and why not. And is there a point where you had to, as a coach, had to feel like you can't be overly negative? How do you balance that between like showing them what they're doing wrong,
right,
but also making sure that they're keeping a positive mindset?
Well, that's fine line. How did you know? It's like dealing with your own children. When they screw up, you got to correct, but you got to make sure that they learn the value in what you're doing. And like I said, I've been as positive as I possibly can. I believe in this team, and just trying to get these guys to understand that the minute details are so important for us at this juncture in order to help us, play our best basketball, help us to get that win, and the more, everybody 1% better, that makes us 12% better, which is a good thing.
Two things. Before the season began, did you imagine you'd be doing situational stuff, entering the fourth game of Big Ten play? And maybe when you look at Wisconsin, is that the type of discipline that you want in your team?
Well, I think, we always do situational stuff. I mean, and, like I've said, I've 13th year in the Big Ten now. I could probably count on one hand the big win where it hasn't come down to the last 8 minutes of the game. I mean, it's been that way forever. So, I think that we've got to continue to hone in on that stuff, and I don't think it's anything drastically different. We've just done a lot of it. Did a lot of it yesterday, and always in practice with that type of stuff.
Dad, would it be safe to say this team has tried your patience like no other? You look like you're about this far from losing it, and you know you can't.
I don't.
Because you recruited them. That's the problem, right?
Right.
You can't.
Well, no, I mean, I've never have and I never will. Blame the players. I never have, and I think I'm not as panicked as one might think. I mean, I'm staying very, very positive. When the Big Ten schedule came out, I looked and said, "Whew, this is." Yeah, this is a heck of a start. I just found out that we come home, play Michigan State, and then we go to Nebraska next. I didn't know 4 of our first 6 were on the road. But, I mean, hey, it's like I told them. I mean, hey, we're in this together. I'm in it with you. And I've always prided myself in being in the trenches with the players. And we just got to play better.
Yeah, I really appreciate your comment about not blaming the players and all that stuff. It seems like you're doing a lot of things that maybe should come from leadership on the team. Is this team lacking that? Is there somebody on that team that maybe should be doing?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I think that's ultimately what you strive for with that type of basketball, or with any team. Football, basketball, baseball, whatever, but it's a little bit harder to get these days. And I think the one thing I've always said, and I say this to all our teams, I mean, it's easy to lead when things are going well. It's when things aren't going well that's when your true leadership steps up, and that's when you find out kind of what you're made of. All right, thanks, guys.